So in today's video, I thought I'd talk about a park that I started 6 months ago. So let's get into today's video so I can explain what I mean. So with that, hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Game World. And as you can see, we started in this time-lapse video and I'm going to be explaining to you guys how I built this entrance 6 months ago. And as you can see, I'm working on this courtyard for this park. And while I'm doing this in this time-lapse, I thought I'd talk about the backstory of this park and the reason why I kind of stopped it 6 months ago and now coming back into it. So, to sum it up, basically 6 months ago, I started this YouTube channel to focus on gaming videos like Theme Park Tycoon 2 and Planet Coaster 2. And 6 months ago, I started this park. However, when I started this park, I was also finishing another park that I wanted to post on YouTube, which was based off of a Universal style park, and as well as taking 17 units in college. And you can imagine how that might have gone. And that's the reason why I had to stop building this park. However, recently I came back into actually building this park with a winter theme because I didn't know where else to put it. Because honestly, I didn't want to sit dozens of hours just to make money to be able to start a new park, especially when the winter season was about to end. And I wanted to basically release this park, and that's why I decided to restart this park. And you can see we're going through episodes 1 to 4 of how I built this entrance. Well, there's a little bit of why I decided to stop building this park 6 months ago. And as I was explaining to you guys why I stopped building, I finished the rest of the building. And as you can see, I added these windows here. Or maybe the time lapse is a little bit ahead, so you saw it earlier on. However, as I was building those windows, I built it the size of 2 Roblox characters. Which, assuming that a Roblox character is the average sized human in real life, then that makes the window 10 feet tall. And I hope that was not an intentional thing that I did. I mean, I really do hope it was not intentional. But yeah, let's just move on to something else and talk about the rest of this building. But anyway, let's just skip on ahead a little bit because I just spent a million years explaining why I stopped building this park. And I actually added a show on the side of this building, which I may or may not delete. So I'm not going to really talk about it. And I will move on to the rest of this park, which I also may or may not delete. I guess I haven't really decided yet. And I'll explain the rest of that at the end of the video. Anyway, I decided to move on to this fountain, which I tried to start earlier, but it ended up looking more like a cake than really a fountain. But now I'm getting back into it with a proper design, which I probably can't find anyway because I was using a concept image off the internet, and that was 6 months ago. And I don't really want to go scavenge the web just to find it. So enjoy this little bit of me trying to explain how I actually built this fountain. So I'm going to try my best to explain how I built this fountain. However, this was 6 months ago, and when I was building this park 6 months ago, I was trying to go for more of a Mediterranean style themed entrance. So as you can see here, the reason why I chose this water fountain was because it had these really cool artworks at the front. I mean, there's probably a lot more cooler artworks in this, but it was the easiest thing to build for something in Theme Park Tycoon 2, especially at my build skills 6 months ago. So as you can see here, I was adding these decorational pieces here, as well as putting some trims around the fountain as well, like some sort of decoration. This is a huge mess. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but basically I'm trying to make the water fountain look nicer. Now we're in episode 3. Yes, this is episode 3 of one of my videos that I recorded 6 months ago. So in episode 3, I started building something similar to Main Street USA, where as you enter my park, you find all these restaurants and stores as you come into my park. So for this area, I decided to start with the outline of all the entrances, and as you can see, I just started placing some random shapes down, nothing too special, as well as building all the walls and stuff. And then I started moving on to some of the doors and windows, and again, I built the doors and windows to be more like 20 feet tall. And I don't know why I did this. Well, actually, no, this was a little bit better, I guess. As you can see, it's a little bit smaller and probably about the size of a Roblox character, which, if you compare that to real life, assuming that a Roblox character's average height of a person is probably 5 feet tall. So, I mean, there's a little bit of, little bit of work that I can do to the windows to make it a little smaller, so it maybe fit the scale a little better. But I'm not sure what I'll do with this area yet, or if I'm going to rebuild it or keep this as is. But I guess you have to stick to the very end to see what I do. And I'll explain what I'll be doing in the future for this park. Well, that's a first. I'm actually talking a little bit ahead of the time lapse. As you saw a little bit before, I actually finished some stairs leading up to a second floor, which was going to be a restaurant area, but I decided to scrap that idea. And as you can see here, now I'm working on the windows for the first restaurant for this park, as you can see here. And now I'm falling a little behind again. I'm now building an elevator, which was probably one of the most difficult things that I've actually built inside of Theme Park Tycoon 2, because trying to align everything with the teleporter and making sure you walk up properly was very complex. But I finally was able to finish it and it actually turned out quite cool. Now, I didn't get the image for the elevator, but that's about it. And now I'm working on the second level to my main street area, which is the same thing as the first level, so there's not really too much to talk about other than I changed the colors a little bit and I'm just adding a little more interest to my park. Alright, now we're in episode 4. And now that we're in episode 4, I finally don't have to figure out what the heck I was building 6 months ago. And as I finished with episode 4 and explained to you what I'm building for the interior for these buildings, I'm going to be adding a lot more to this park with snowy areas, which I released the first episode, or first 2 episodes for that snowy area, which looks really cool with a very cool coaster using the new switch tracks as well as some really cool snow lodge style buildings. So, but I guess we should go and talk about what I did for the interior for this building. Anyway, the first thing that I realized when I built these tables and chairs originally, I built it to an older park and everything was so crooked, making me have to redo the chairs and tables twice over. And finally got it finished and I added it to this restaurant here, as you can see here. And now we're moving on to the second building, which represents a bar. And for some reason, when I was building this bar, I decided to write full essays, assuming that people would stop and read it. But I should know by now that everybody in today's modern times has horrible, including me, horrible attention spans. So I should know by now that people would not be reading it. But I guess it didn't really matter because only 4 people watched that video anyway. And 3 of those times was probably even me. Well, anyway, let's just move on to what I'm actually doing in this building and just not talk about my stupidity. As you can see as I was building this building, I decided to represent it off of a park that, not park, a theme land that I was building in my Universal style park. And this was off of the Dark Universe area that was going to be opening in Epic Universe, because when I was building this park, it was before Epic Universe was actually open. So I was using a ton of reference images to try to build this themed land. And I actually decided to build the rest of that off screen. And I'll release a tour video showing you how I built that Dark Universe area. And I hope once I release that, you will enjoy that video. But let's get back into what I'm doing in this park. So sadly, from here on out, I lost the rest of the videos for this part of the recording because it was on an older computer that was about to explode every time I tried recording. So from here, let's go into real time where I'll show you what I did for this entrance as well as explain what I'll be doing for this park moving forward on YouTube. So let's talk about what I did for the entrance as well as the main street area. Starting with this area, including the fountain, which I built this globe off screen, and the globe doesn't really look the greatest. That's something I just added last minute because I wasn't sure what to put there. The second thing that I built, the first thing that I built was actually the entrance building, which was also a hotel. However, when I was building the hotel, there's things that I definitely want to change, as well as the 16-foot windows. Now, I'll be talking about what I'll be doing with the main area for my park after I tour this area that I built. Starting with this room, which is just a simple toilet area, as well as, or simple bathroom area, as well as over here, which is just an empty area, or empty space because I wasn't sure what to place here. Now, moving on to Main Street, went the wrong way. Moving on to the Main Street area, we have these different buildings, which I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 different buildings. So starting with this first building here, we have this bar restaurant area, which is more of resembling a Dark Universe style bar. And I built the bar, or a similarity to the bar at Epic Universe in my Universal style park, and I gotta say this doesn't really look similar to that. However, I built it in a way to resemble the Dark Universe style bar. And you can kind of tell that this is more or less themed after Dark Universe because we have these skeletons here, as well as some different books, as well as a random bottle of like some sort of drink. No clue what. Been some sort of alcoholic drink because that is a bar. Now, moving on to the second building, we have this store or shop area here, and there's not much here. It's actually pretty empty. There's a few shirts as well as books and some globes. Now, I didn't really know what to do here, so that's probably why it's very empty. So moving on to the next building, trying not to spoil anything as I move on, since well, I built a lot of this park, and I have episodes ready to come out, but it's after this video comes out. So moving on over here, this is the second restaurant that I built, and there's not much detail. In fact, this was probably supposed to be some sort of counter where somebody stands behind, and this wall probably would have been extended out a little bit. But again, I don't know. When I was originally building it, I guess I didn't build it in a way so it resembles something, and I guess when I was building this, I got a little lazy. And you can also tell there's some rocks coming through the roofs as well as the wall. This is from the other themed area, and I'll probably be getting rid of most of this stuff anyway. I know it's kind of redundant that I did a video on this, but I thought I'd come and explain what I actually built in the first 4 episodes when I was building this park 6 months ago. So over here, I actually built a show that runs on a timer, and you can see how there's some fireworks shooting up. And then once the fireworks done, in a second here, any second now. Okay, apparently I only, oh, there it goes. So the light turns on, indicating that the fireworks show is done, and it's set on a 5-minute timer, as you can see here, 120 seconds, and it'll start up again. Now, originally when I was building this show, or that'll probably actually make bigger in a redesign of this area, trying to show you without actually spoiling anything. If I can jump up over this area here. Originally, the borderline or where you can build was actually up to here. And now that we can build close to the border, it actually extended the build space a little more. So I can actually do a lot more to this, but I'll probably do it somewhere else and make it 10 times better. So moving on to the final 2 buildings that I built, trying not to spoil anything again. I built another random store, again, very empty, this time with a couple hats and minus the books. And you can actually kind of tell it's the same orientation as the other store, but that was not intended. I just ended up doing that. Again, this is really not really detailed. I think I stopped building when I was working on this because I had to go and focus on some college work, as well as I started another YouTube series focusing on my Universal Park. So moving on to the final building, we have this ice cream shop, and you can see I made the ice cream into this random circles to represent the ice creams, and then we have these ice cream cones, and then maybe some ice cream cups and stuff. Maybe, whatever that was, I'm not sure. Then we have like a sink and then checkout area, as well as some rocks sticking through the wall from the other themed area. Anyway, that's all I have for this area, because when I was building this 6 months ago, there's not much planning at all when I came into building this. We do have this area which you can access by going down these stairs, but since I was in a semester of college, as well as I decided to start 2 theme parks inside of Theme Park Tycoon 2, this one as well as a Universal style park. No idea why I decided to do that, but it was definitely a bit overwhelming. So I decided to stop this park as I try to focus more on my college stuff. But now I am more into working on this park again. So I'm going to explain to you guys what I'm planning for this theme park inside of Theme Park Tycoon 2, as well as revealing the name to this theme park. So, I guess I'll be ending the video here and explain to you guys what I'll be doing for this theme park. So, for this theme park, I'm going to be deleting everything, and I know it's a little redundant that I record a video on this entrance area. However, I want to delete everything because I want to build more of a story for this theme park. And what I was going for was some sort of time style story where you have a hub similar to how you have at Epic Universe, where you enter the park and you're met with 3 or 4 different portals. I'm not decided yet, and it'll take you to different points in history. And the hub will be called the Time Vault, where in the Time Vault you have different portals sending you to different points in history, like I said before. And this could be like a Wild West area, a medieval area, or even some sort of pirate area. But I guess you have to come back to the episodes to see what I do for this park and what I'll be calling Around the World Adventure Time Hunt. And I'll see you in the next episode of this series.